It's 2 o'clock and I just took a bit of a power nap. I was reading The Mysterious Case of the Alberton Angels. I picked this book up at the library and I'm really liking it so far, actually a lot. But I started to get kind of tired and took a little bit of a power nap. But I think I'm gonna make a matcha lemonade because that sounds really refreshing, kind of like a nice pick-me-up. And then we'll make dinner. I think we're gonna have pesto pasta with veggies tonight. And then I'm subbing a yin restorative yoga class tonight at 7:30. So that's on the agenda, but that nap felt really nice. Sometimes an afternoon nap is so underrated, you know? I don't take them very often, but they are very nice. Also made chocolate chip banana nut bread last night, so I think I'm gonna have a slice of this. Make my matcha lemonade. I just get this lemonade from Trader Joe's, and then this matcha is from Costco, and I really like it. The matcha set that I have is from, I think it's from Amazon a long time ago, but I can link something similar down below for you guys. I use our Breville to heat up the water to mix for the matcha. Do you think it's weird if I add almond butter? I'm gonna do it. Okay, shall we taste test? The almond butter was a good call. Try our matcha lemonade. Perfect. I can link the recipe of the banana nut bread that I used to make the bread. It turned out really nice. Also, we got some new house furniture, which is really exciting. I'm doing like a home decor sort of video, so I'm not gonna go through the house and show you, but that's a sneak peek. get an oil change in the car since it desperately needs one from traveling from Ohio to here. And I have my maps up. The only thing about traveling or moving somewhere new is needing maps for a while until you really learn the area. I also brought my book. I'll link this in the description, but I'm like 82 pages in. I'm gonna read that as I wait. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Fingers crossed. But it's 11 o'clock. I've had my little morning routine and we're gonna get on with the day. Let's do a little coffee chat. Catch up on my thoughts and my feelings. I honestly just kind of want to talk, but yeah, I think it's like almost 11 o'clock or something like that. Thursday, it's almost the weekend. And I wanted to give you guys kind of an update on the job interview. So I had the third job interview last Friday. Yeah. And it went really well. And I had it with the overarching like district manager. So each interview was someone in a higher role, which is usually pretty typical in an interview process. And it went really well. It was the longest interview. I got a lot of information and clarity on the role and the expectations, and I felt like it went really well. And they let me know that I would hear back no later than Wednesday of this week. And I sent my follow-up email thanking them for the time and consideration and just offering just an extension of gratitude for the opportunity to apply for an interview for the role. So I've done all of the things, and yesterday was Wednesday, and I for sure thought that I would hear back because they had mentioned like Wednesday by the latest I would hear from them, and I didn't. So that's not a bad thing, but it's also not the best thing because I was anticipating to hear from them by Wednesday. But I also can't make assumptions, and knowing that, you know, they might be having like a busy week or whatever the case may be. I can't really make assumptions and can't assume because I didn't hear that means something bad. And so I was journaling on that today and kind of working through that feeling and that emotion. Like, not hearing from them shows me how interested I really am in the job and how much I really do want it. But then there's a part of me that's like, am I scared to face rejection, which is natural, and part of me is probably, well, not probably, there is part of me that is scared to face rejection, although I know I can, you know, maneuver and make my way through that and it would be okay. But just working through the emotions that surface from not hearing back on the time that they told me. Also, just feeling anxious of like checking my phone, checking my email. And today I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go and loosen my grip on what I desire and what I want. And I told myself, you know, if this was meant to be, it would be, and if it's not, it's not. And regardless of the outcome, I know that it's what's ever meant to be is meant to be. And I know it's like so cliche to say that, but it really is kind of like what navigates my ship, is understanding that when doors close for me, there's probably nothing on the other side of the door for me, or it would have been like something negative or hard and not the right thing. And if the door does open, that's the opportunity for me to grow in a place that I didn't know would be for me. So I know it's cliche, but that's the thing that's really like keeping me through all of my thoughts and emotions and navigating it. So it's hard not to have negative self-reflection, like, because I didn't hear in the time frame that I was expecting to. I started feeling like, oh, was the job interview not as great as I thought it was? Should I have said something else? Or maybe this isn't the right thing. And I start to like go down this rabbit hole of it's a me problem, and that becomes really like deteriorating towards my self-confidence and self-worth and trust in myself and trust in the universe. So I was journaling and working through all these things, and I know I shared in the last vlog my thoughts during the interview process, so I kind of just wanted to like follow up on where I'm at, and that's where I'm at. Last night we went to yoga, which was really nice because yesterday, I don't know if I said this, but was a new moon, and also it was nice to just like get out of the worry feeling. Here comes Fonzie. Get out of my own brain of everything around the job yesterday. So we went to yoga. It was nice to release that energy and, you know, turn myself back inward. It felt really, really good. And then after, we had the same leftover pasta that we had made the other day. And you guys, we've been watching the show You on Netflix. I forget what the actor's name is, but he's in, oh, what's that show with Blake Lively? Pretty Little Liar, or no, wait, that's not the right. Gilmore, no. With like Chuck Bass. What's that show? Oh gosh, I don't know. With like Blake Lively, Chuck Bass, and he's in it. I can't remember, but anyways, we've been watching the show You on Netflix, and it's nice to just have something new that we're both like excited to watch at the end of the day to sort of like wrap up our night. We'll watch like one episode, and it's so good. It's a thriller and kind of sort of stalker. I don't want to give the show away in case you watch it, but it's like kind of stalker, creepy, psychological. It's really good. And you know, ever since I started reading fiction books, and especially like reading psychological thrillers and thrillers, reading fictional books has absolutely changed my perspective on consuming shows and movies. I watch with such a different perspective and such a different eye, an ability to dissect based off of books. Like watching the show, I can understand the themes of the characters based off of like how I read books and understand the characters in novels. And I feel like reading books, you develop a mental list of the things that are occurring and also an imagination towards the characters and the scenes, and it creates a lot of like mental painting of like what's going on. So then when I'm watching like a show that there is already like the visual aspect in front of me, I use my brain to sort of dissect the visual. Is this making sense? But I just have like a deeper process and deeper understanding now when I watch movies and shows. And so as soon as I was watching the show You, I was like, this has to be a book. Like the way that the characters having inner dialogue and like navigating through the storyline, I was like, this has to be a book. And it is a book. It's a series. So I felt like, I don't know, it's kind of cool. We got coffee beans from Phil's. You know, my favorite drink from Phil's is the Mocha Tesora, and they sell the Tesora, I think that's how you say the name, Tesora. Tesoro beans. They sell them, and we've been using them in our Breville espresso machine, and I swear the coffee tastes so good. We used to buy the bulk coffee beans from Costco, which are still really great, but I'm not even joking. This is like hands down way better. And the Breville is 10 out of 10. Could not recommend it enough. It's like a form of ritualistic love and like self-care by weighing out the beans, grinding the beans, you know, doing your little shot. When I do my hot coffee, I like steam the milk, and it's just like a act of love. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it's like an art form, you know? It's part of the beauty of life, I feel like, is like slowing down, doing the coffee, making it really romanticized. So look at Fonzie. He's in there. We're off to Pilates.
Hot Pilates.
We'll give our review after.
Yeah, I've never done Pilates. We did, what did we do? We did bar, but we haven't done Pilates.
That was a while ago that we did
Long
bar,
time ago.
like in Austin.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So far, not a bar fan, but...
yeah, I didn't really love bar, but...
yeah, not the vibe. But if you're like into dancing vibes...
When we took bar, I was like holding it in not to laugh. Because we were doing like pliés and like little plié squats. And it was just so funny. Anyways, I think Pilates will be better, like more toning motion.
Pilates will be cool.
And it has a lot of like kind of yoga postures, I think, incorporated
nice.
with it. Yeah.
It's cool.
Anyways, we'll give our review.
But
We came to In-N-Out. Gotta have balance.
we sweat! Megan was laughing at me because I was doing dainty postures.
It's so cute. And then I see your little toes like pointing.
You gotta point.
I know, it's just so cute.
Yeah.
I was gonna lose it. I was laughing.
I know your face was. I'm like, oh, she's laughing at me. And I'm like,
No.
I'm just. But it's like funny because I'm like.
You're like, and you're like squeezing your butt together.
Yeah. Squeezing my glutes. Gotta get that. Never mind, I'm not gonna say it.
Gotta get
that summer bod. It's like, work it.
Get them gains, honey.
Yeah.
Cutie. Anyways, we're getting In-N-Out. Because we gotta get them gains.
I feel like that's not bad.
You're looking saucy, honey.
And that, love, is why I'm gonna say I can't wait to tell our story to our kids.
Good morning. I'm going to write a yin yoga class. I teach on Sundays a hot vinyasa, and then I also teach a yin right after it, a restorative class. And I already have written the hot vinyasa, so I am going to write out my class for yin on Sunday. I have this cute little notebook that Bree's mom picked out for me. I think it's from a local market in Oceanside, but the artist engraves these, which is really cool. It's a wood cover. Here's the brand if you ever want to check them out. They have all different sorts of designs, but I use this as my yoga flow notebook. I feel like writing out my yoga flows is a really nice way for me to have a nice flow and structure to the class, whether that be like the class is centered around a theme or a chakra or a peak pose or whatever the case may be. It allows me to have the flow really be purposeful, and I really love writing out my flows. Just gives me a good roadmap for the class, so that way when I teach the class I can really be around the room assisting and not worrying about what's coming next, because I'm prepared for the flow, and also that way over the weekend I don't really have to worry about anything related to teaching class. So I'll write my flows a couple days in advance, and then the day before, night before, morning of, whatever the case is, I'll just refresh, go through the flow, say it out loud, and practice it. Yeah, and if you want more details on how I really go in depth with doing a yoga class and how I structure it, let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. Maybe if you're a yoga teacher too. And sometimes it's nice to like use inspiration from other teachers, and that's a good segue into how do I find inspiration to draw up new classes and have different flows, allowing myself not to stay stagnant as a teacher. And also for the students, you don't want students to feel bored in repeating like classes or anything like that. So things I use as resources is social media. So YouTube is a really great platform. Sometimes I look on Pinterest or Instagram, yoga instructors that I like to follow. And sometimes I'll get an idea seeing like one posture. For example, like say I am like, oh, I really loved that asana. So maybe it's like eagle chair, like with eagle asana arms, eagle asana legs, and I kind of want to like build the whole class up to that posture. I'll sometimes take inspiration from one thing and then build the class around that, or I'll see like a sequence that somebody does and I'm like, oh, I really like that, and kind of put my own twist on it. Sometimes I take class myself and a teacher does a really cool sequence or maybe a really great posture that I haven't taught in a while, and I'm like, wow, that I forgot about that posture and I really want to incorporate that into my flow. So I get inspired by taking class, looking on social media and other social media platforms, and also internally reflecting and taking time within myself to see what's really serving and what I'm feeling called to. So for today's yoga flow that I'm gonna write, I'm really inclined to use a block. So I have my block with me, and sometimes I just like mess around to really start to get my creative juices flowing. If you're doing anything creative, like maybe you make music or paint, sometimes you just kind of have to start and then eventually it will become something and you just tweak and edit. And that's why it's nice to have a notebook so that I can like do a couple things and I'm like, oh, I really like that, write that down, and then I'll go a little further and then tweak it, and then once I feel like it's solidified, I'll write it down so that way I don't forget what I did. Yeah, and then I put some music on. I have a couple yoga playlists I can put in the description for you guys. I have a couple more upbeat ones for hot vinyasa, and then a yin restorative, very instrumental, relaxing playlist, so I can put those in the description. I always link my Spotify as well, which has my regular music that I like on there as well, if you want to follow me on Spotify. But yeah, sometimes the music really gets me in the mood and gets me gets my creative juices really flowing. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm feeling called to use the block, like I said. Got my little pen. These are like my favorite pens. F301 zebra pens. Bree put me onto these and they're the best for writing in my notebook. I absolutely love them. They're really fine. Tip, not jelly or anything like that. I don't like gel pens. So little fun fact is that's my favorite pen. It's a 75-minute yin class, so a little bit more than a typical 60-minute class. So this helps me gauge. In yin, you hold postures for longer, for several minutes. So I try to gauge on the deeper postures by time, so that way I can structure the class so it equals 75 minutes. But as you teach, you sort of start to understand the time organization and time management with your yoga flow. So like you generally understand like warming up your sun A and B's warming up, and then going into your warrior series, and then of your inversions, abs, and things like that, and then your ending, closing, you sort of start to understand the time frame for all those. So it's just, you know, practice. You kind of get into the groove of understanding the time frame for everything. So yeah, it's a 75-minute yin class, and I'm going to center it all around the yoga block. So this is a cork yoga block. Bree's brother, Robert, actually got me this for Christmas. I have a set of 2 and a yoga strap, so I just keep these at home. I don't actually take them. They got scuffed up from our move, but I don't take them to the studio because we offer blocks at the studio for students. But I'll link these in the description as well if you're interested in having some yoga blocks in your home practice. Yoga blocks are a really great tool, even if you're an advanced yogi. They're really great in creating more space for you in asanas. So even if I'm working on a inversion, or so like say for example I'm working on handstand, I can use the block to assist toe taps, lifting my toes, lifting my hips, putting this into my hip socket and lifting my leg. Or if I was a beginner yogi, I can use a block in a stretch to help me get deeper into a stretch. So say you're in a forward fold and you can't touch your palms to the floor, use a block to put your palms onto the block, and it just gives you more space. So blocks are such a big misconception in yoga that it's like the ego will be like, oh no, I don't need that, you know, as almost like it's like a crutch. But it's very misunderstood. The block is that it can be used for advanced yogis, beginner yogis, all in between. In restorative, it's really great because if you're holding a posture, it can sort of cause a lot of fiery energy, and having a block to support sometimes can ease the fiery intensity of a posture. So I want to use the block, and that's what we're gonna do. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If you're a yoga teacher or a yogi, let me know. Honey, I gotta show you something.
What's up?
Okay.
What?
What?
What happened?
I got the
You got the job! Oh, oh my god, what? Oh my god, wait. How'd you find out?
They emailed me the acceptance letter.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay, how do you feel about it?
excited. I was journaling about it.
I knew it when I saw the line. I knew it!
I wanted to get your reaction.
It's so cute. Oh, I love you.
Too. We're hitting the town
Yeah.
in our little outfits for the night. Get our dance on.